All right, you opened up the can of worms. We got to find out, how do you get a raise? And by the way, I think one of my employees watched one of your videos and then asked me.
Did he get it?
He got something.
Okay. So my own team has of course read all my negotiation material, and I'm like, man, you're good. You're good. They're using this stuff, but it works if you are a top performer.
Right.
So let me give you a detailed example of how you can go in and ask for a raise. Now, the typical way people think about it is they get nervous and they don't do it at all. That's common. They just wait for the world to recognize them. I don't like that. The second way they think about doing it is they get really aggressive. Like they kick their boss's door and say, give me 20K. Boss is like, what? You're out of here. So that's not good either. But the way to do it is calm, cool, and methodical. So what you do is you set up a meeting with your boss and you say, I would love to discuss what it takes to be a top performer in this role. Would it be possible for us to set up some time to talk? Every boss is going to take that meeting. You set it up, you go in there and you say, you know what? I really enjoy what I'm doing. I love the work and the projects that I'm on. I really want to know what it takes to excel in this role. What would it take to be a top performer? Now, most bosses never hear this, never. So they're just loving it. Oh, wow, you're going to help me in my job? Help me look good? Yes. So they might give you a little vague answer. Well, you know, keep working on that project. But as the employee, it's your job to push. Okay, I'm working on this project. Right now, we're targeting a 1% conversion rate. Would that make me a top performer? No, actually, 1.25 would make you top performer. Great, I'm gonna write that down as one. So you push them and probe them and get these three things. And you say, you know what? I really appreciate you walking me through this. I'm gonna write these down and send you an email. And 6 months from now, I'd like to rediscuss it. And if I've been able to achieve that top performer role, I'd like to discuss a compensation adjustment. But for now, let me just focus on hitting these numbers and I'll keep you updated. Boss is like, sounds great. Go back to your desk, write it up, send the email. Now it's your job to do two things. Number one, you better hit those numbers, okay? You committed to them, that's what you're going for, you gotta hit it. And this is where it's real hard work. No fancy script is gonna change the fact that you need to be good if you want a raise. So that's number one. Number two, you gotta communicate to your boss. Every Friday or every other Friday, just wanted to give you a status check. We talked about these things. Here's where I am. This is on track. This is not. I'd love your help to connect to this person, etc. After a few weeks of this, your boss is going to love it because he or she is being kept in the loop. If there's one thing bosses hate, including me, it's not knowing the status of something. So let's fast forward. Let's assume you hit these numbers and your performance review's coming up. So you walk in and you say, 6 months ago, we discussed these things. And I was so thankful that you were explicit about what it takes. Now I have some good news. And this is where you implement something I call the briefcase technique. You can Google it. The briefcase.
You're famous for this.
Yeah, so yeah. It's very theatrical. And whether you have a briefcase or a folder, doesn't matter. The point is you have prepared. So you come in, you say, 6 months ago, we talked about getting a 1.25% conversion rate. Well, I'm really pleased to show you that we achieved a 1.33% conversion rate, shattering our goals. I'm so happy. That's going to result in an extra $600,000 in revenue for the business or whatever. The second goal, the third goal, achieved. And I just want to thank you because it has been amazing to have clarity on what it takes to be a top performer. Boss is like, great job, great job. Second part of the briefcase technique, pull out this thing from your folder. You say, based on my research, it looks like the compensation range for my role is 65 to 72K. And I'd like to discuss an adjustment to 72K at the top of the range based on my performance here on these metrics we jointly set. Well, now you get to have a conversation. Now it's not, do I like you or not? Now it's not kicking down the door and demanding money. Now it's about your research, which you did, and you can use various salary sites. It's also about the work that you did. This is a totally different way of thinking about a raise. It is profoundly impactful because you're doing the work. You're taking the risk on yourself. And at a certain point, your boss either has to recognize you, which is how my students typically get $10,000, $20,000 raises, or you are so good that you know you can take your ticket and go somewhere else. So this is the essence of what I cover in some of my programs. And I show you the exact words. And when the boss says, we don't have the budget for it this year, I show you the body language and the words to use right back at the boss. But ultimately, the core thing is get clear on what success is, do the work, and then make sure you tell your boss and be specific in what you're asking for.